Hello and welcome to Math Matters. I'm Miss Ogden and today we are going to learn about ratios by exploring pictures and real-world scenarios. For this lesson you will need a pencil, paper, and a tool to measure yourself. This tool could be a measuring tape. However, if you only have a yardstick or ruler, that will work as well. Please take a moment to find those materials. I bet you're wondering what a ratio is. Great question. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities that tells how many of one quantity there are for a given number of the second quantity. Let's take a look at this example. There are 12 cubes. The ratio of red cubes to green cubes is 4:3. I can write that ratio in three ways: with words, using a colon, or as a fraction. What's another relationship you notice? Take a moment to write it down. You might have noticed that there are 2 white cubes to 3 yellow cubes. That ratio can be written as 2:3. I'm sure you noticed some other ratios as well. Now we're going to look at some ratios in real life. In the 15th century, the Italian artist Leonardo da Vinci made a drawing of the human form called the Vitruvian Man. The image above was inspired by the drawing. The Vitruvian Man was a study in the ratios and proportions in the male human body. Da Vinci wanted to create an image of an ideal human form, one whose features were perfect mathematical relationships. To do this, Da Vinci made hundreds of measurements using actual people and found many relationships that we still use in art today. You may have noticed that your eyes are about halfway between the top of your head and your chin. What other relationships exist in your body? And how closely do you resemble the Vitruvian Man? The distance from the top of this student's head to his chin is 20 centimeters. The distance from the top of his head to his eyes is 10 centimeters. So, the ratio of the distances is 20 to 10, which simplifies to 2/1. Anne is in 6th grade. She measured her height in centimeters and found she is 155 centimeters tall. Then Anne measured her arm span. Her arm span is 151 centimeters tall. Anne is wondering, What is the ratio of her arm span to her height? Anne noticed that her arm span is almost as long as her height. When she wrote the ratio as a fraction, she noticed that it was almost 155 155ths, which would make it one whole. Anne remembered that the fraction bar is another way to show division, and when she divided her arm span by her height, the quotient was 0.97 or 97 hundredths. That's really close to one whole. Anne wondered if everyone has a similar ratio of arm span to height. Take a moment to find a tape measure or a tool that has centimeters. If you can't, that's fine. You can use other units like inches too. Once you have your tool, measure your arm span and your height. Write it as a ratio like Anne did. What do you notice? Go ahead and write that down. Now let's practice. Allie organized her block collection. What ratios do you notice? When you have an idea, take a moment to write down any ratios that you notice. You can see that there are 4 statements on the screen. Which 2 statements do you think are true? Take a moment to think through each statement. Mathematicians often record their ideas. Feel free to write things down to help you make sense of each statement. How might you prove each statement to be true or false? Take some time to do some thinking. Both A and C are true statements. We can prove A to be true because there are 5 blue blocks and there are 50 blocks altogether. So the ratio of blue blocks to all the blocks is 5 to 50. We call this a part to whole ratio. C is also true. There are 15 red blocks and 5 white blocks. The ratio of white blocks to red blocks is 15 to 5. We call this a part-to-part ratio because we are comparing 2 parts of the set. Take a moment to reflect on something you learned and something you're wondering. Jot it down. Keep it and bring it with you to school so you can share your wonderings with your teacher or your classmates later. In today's episode of Math Matters, we learned about ratios. Try to find ratios that exist in your home or even on your body. I'm Miss Ogden, and I hope you have a great day and keep on counting.